Welcome back to UAT Game Studios Milestone Review. There you go.
All right, now that we're working again, which is great, if I could have my team, everybody come up. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start. My name's Kylie Atkins, and this is the gray area build review for Milestone 4. So our goals for this milestone, guys, go on the other side. Our goals for this milestone were to, first of all, add information to our wiki site, which is our site that basically details all the lore and information behind the Roswell crash. And then additionally, we were improving asset textures in our crash site to help bring up the level of polish. And then we were adding new grass assets as our grass was billboarded and kind of looked odd when you were moving around, so that was definitely something we wanted to change. And then also improving our animations. So we also have some tasks that did not get in the build, unfortunately, but we are continuing to work on them next sprint. So I'm going to go ahead and let my team talk about their portions of this. All right, go ahead.
Hi, Lana, and what I worked on was updating the wiki of what the team has been doing. So for the past few sprints, all the work that the artists have done, I created the page, updating the art page on the concept artwork that we have created, and also adding in images of the characters and parts of the level that's already in the build. For the design side, edit in the new layout of the level, the different new paper map we're going to be following for the craft site, and that's it.
And they give a little bit of context to the wiki. That's something that our shareholders have been pushing for. They want to have a single place where they can send people so that way they can find out all the information about the game. So that way it's no longer a process of having to explain to somebody new or anybody who's being introduced to the game for the first time what's going on. They can just go to the wiki and find out more information all right there in one spot.
Hi, Christian BC, junior artist. I was working on the Gray's animations. We had to
Guys,
basically
move closer
throw
to
up
the mic. Move to the center so we're close to the mic.
Okay. Mic's over here.
Yep, you're good.
All right. I was working on. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there.
Gray animations.
Gray animations, yes. Gray animations. I had to re-rig, reskin, all that fun stuff. Unfortunately, the rig wasn't accepting the old animations as well as I would have liked, so with a little bit more touching up, it should work.
There you go.
Hey.
It is directional. You have to be in the line that it is.
I'm sorry. I'm haven't gotten a lot of sleep lately because of this, so pardon that. But yeah, so working on that, and hopefully by the final sprint, it should all be good and all the new animations should work.
Lauren, go ahead and stay right center there so the camera can capture you, and then speak up so the mic can capture you.
Being dramatics on the ground.
Yeah, right. Anyway, right. Okay, I'm Lauren. I'm a junior artist. I was trying to work on the soldier animations. We found out that there were some issues with the mocap data, so I went and cleaned that up. I got help from Lynn to help clean that up. But we had an issue with importing it that the model wasn't registering the rig, so we weren't able to get it in. We're still trying to figure that out. We might have to go and just re-rig the whole soldier just to be safe, and hopefully that might fix our problems. If not, we will have to key it. So, yeah.
Hello, I'm Brant. I'm one of the programmers on the team. This sprint I was working on some UI issues that we had. Basically, some of our menus were popping up when they shouldn't. I was able to get most of them working when they should. And Jimmy's not here. He's the other programmer. He was working on some AI stuff that I helped with him.
All right, now we're going to go ahead and bring up the build. And Nathan, can you start talking about what you did on the build this sprint?
Hello, everybody. My name is Nathan, or I just go by Nate. What I did on this build specifically was I was tasked with making little potholes around a certain crash site. And what I was tasked to do was just make them and add assets into them, making them seem like they were falling from the Earth's atmosphere and just crashing down onto the terrain. And also what else I was tasked with was just finish the remaining area and just smooth out any textures that were still a little bit rigid and pointy. And yeah, it was pretty simple.
All right, and something that we were contending with this cycle is we've had a lot of trouble with our Git repo. There's basically this kind of vicious cycle that we're in of something will happen that will cause LFS to no longer be hooked up, which means that instead of comparing the pointers and thus our pushes and pulls being a lot more, that they're a lot smaller because we're not constantly trying to check all of the files, that keeps getting shut off. And so what that means is where it would normally take us, maybe 20 minutes to do a large push, it now takes us 2 hours, which has kind of ballooned the time it takes to do everything. That's something I've been working on to get sorted with our repo, and we should be at a point where that won't be a issue for the rest of the build, fingers crossed, or for the rest of the semester, fingers crossed.
And I believe, I'm art lead, and I went ahead and updated some textures on, actually remodeled and retextured the military truck that you can see over there. And then I've also updated some of the textures on just some of the assets. And then we placed some of Tyler Harper, who's not here. He made this grass for us that definitely improved from our last grass. So I went ahead and placed that all in for him. And overall, that is all. Thank you so much for watching.
Sorry, I have notes that I need to. So. Okay. Where's the freeze button? Oh. Hello everyone, my name is John. I'm the lead for John and the Dreadnoughts, and this sprint was definitely a very productive one. We got a whole new stuff, a whole slew of new stuff in. There's now, well, I'm gonna just stop talking and show you. So one of the cool things that we actually built kind of last minute was we were trying to show off more art as some of our stuff couldn't actually get implemented. So what we did is we built a little asset viewer, which actually we're going to be putting into the game as kind of like a, hey, this is an information panel. A lot of games such as like StarCraft have a place where you can go in the game and view all of your units. This first started out as a way to, hey, listen, these are some art assets that aren't quite done yet, but here they are in the build and this is what they look like. So the first asset that I'm going to be showing off is our Saber Fighter. The Saber Fighter is essentially a space superiority fighter that's supposed to go around and shoot people. It's armed with 4 massive cannons. The 4 massive cannons was based off of the Star Wars X-Wing, whereas it flew around, it had those 4 wing-tipped cannons. The next asset, this asset was built by Daniel McWhirter. Our next asset is the barracks. This model was based off of, if anyone's played Halo Wars, I've been referencing that game a lot. Essentially, this is just where the player will train all their units and all that stuff. This was built by our very own Nick Hodes. Well, not built, but modeled. This right here, one of the things that we've been working on is a repair bay. Essentially, when your units go up next to it, it will then repair them if they're in a certain radius. This is our model for that. This was built by our artist, Mike Nicholson. This right here is, now this little guy I'm starting to look at it as kind of a cute little birdie of death. This is our Hawk drone. Essentially, this is a light scout unit that is meant to fly around the battlefield and at very high rates to scout out your enemies and to say, hey, look, there's a bad guy. And if there's a little infantry unit, the Hawk drone can use its mounted little machine gun to kill small infantry units and harass enemies' economies. This right here, this asset in the game will actually be a lot bigger, but this is our Titan Bay. So in Dawn of the Dreadnoughts, you have access to build these massive mech type weapon systems, and essentially it's just a big door with a bay, because yeah. What else do we have? This is another one of our assets called the Hallenbard Space Bomber, because Space Bomber. So essentially what this unit does is it will fly over to the enemy dreadnought and just start dropping loads of nuclear love all over their hulls. This right here is our shield generator. There were we had some import issues with the with getting the particle effects to actually map onto this, but the particle effects are in the game. It is showing in the actual build scene, which I'll get into after this. This is one of the models that you guys have seen before, but you haven't really gotten to see. Oh, totally forgot. So this was made by Nick Hodes. This was made by Michael Nicholson. This was made by Daniel McWhirter. This was made by Daniel McWhirter. This was made by Mike Nicholson. This was also made by Mike Nicholson, and that's all of them. So this is just the drone bay, which trains these small little Hawk drones. This is the hangar bay, which trains the Hallenbard fighter and the Sabre Space Superiority fighter. So that's it for that. I also updated the text here because people couldn't see it. So the first thing you'll notice is that we've got a little bit of a difference of UI here. So one thing that our programmers really, so what we essentially did 2 sprints ago was we separated our programmers and gave our programmers these massive tasks. One of those tasks was the command card. In a lot of RTSs, having a good UI and a good command card that really shows the player, okay, what each of these buildings are and where they, what they do is key. So right here we've got the support buildings. As you can see, our command card is, blue. It's very passive. And we've got our refinery, supply dock, owning outpost, all that stuff. I didn't mean to exit out of the game. And then we've got our red command card, which basically has all the military buildings. We also have a lot of expanded functionality of what the command card is going to do, but a lot of that is right now dependent on a few systems that we're still working on. Merlin Call has been very busy trying to get our command card to then send commands to our units so that we can move them around and do all that fun stuff. And if you'll notice, I'm losing. There's a reason for that. I didn't build those buildings, but you know who did? That's right. There's an AI that I am not playing against, and that is why I'm losing. So essentially, this AI, seeing that, hey, listen, it's losing shield. I'm going to build shield generators. It builds a lot of other different buildings, but right now it's just building shield generators because it's trying to keep up with us, and it is winning. Our AI right now and all of our framework was built by my angel, Pada? Yeah. It's built by my angel. And where's my ship? My ship's right there. So yeah, I should probably start playing. So what do I want to build? I need to start building shield projectors. So one thing you'll notice is that it's actually on a delay whenever I build a shield projector. That is because in this sprint we also got a lot of our building functionality in. So in a lot of RTSs, whenever you build a structure, it takes time. You need to have enough resources. Well, all of that works now. Because as you can see, whenever I click, it takes a few seconds for all this stuff to build. And if I build enough shield generators so I can actually win, you know what, I'm going to restart this to show this off. Okay. So, shield projector.
You got too far into debt?
No, I had too much money was the problem. I had the exact opposite problem. So one thing you'll notice is that these things are going to stop building, even though I have the money. That is because what we have working now is the fact that if you do not have enough resources, your buildings will not build. And in order for you to win, you now actually have to build refineries to get more. And of course, they will build once you actually have the resources coming in at a certain rate. So yeah. Oh, and another thing, health bars. Those are working as well. I don't have enough resources to build anything. Okay, I should restart. So refineries, of course, I probably should have built refineries first because then I would have the resources, but oh well. So as you can see, we have health bars. It's not an RTS game without health bars, because if you can't see how much health your buildings have, well, I mean, you need that information. That's kind of important. So yeah, that's pretty much everything for the build. I'm still going to lose, but that's okay. Our AI is exceptionally hard, but this is supposed to be not an easy game. So yeah, that's Dawn of the Dreadnoughts.
Yes, I am. Alright. Yay, we're good. Cameras are broken. It's always the first step, right? Hello everyone, I'm Kyle Davis. I'm the lead for Guardian's Legacy, and this sprint we got a lot of stuff in, and we've been working on a lot of really large systems that we might not even have completely done by the end of this milestone, but we're doing the best that we can with what we got. So far we've been making iterations on actually trying to get our wilderness area done, along with expounding out our node system, which is a very complex system, and I have to commend our coder Reyna for being able to stick with it long enough to make it to the point where it's at now. Along with that, we've been working on figuring out the lore and everything for the story aspect of our RPG, because that is a huge aspect towards the game, along with trying to build out a lot more assets and create the functionality to have a full functioning core game loop. What we've actually got done a lot with our feedback loop, surprisingly. We got the initial part of where our animations are going to go and how all of our tempo is going to work out. We've been planning out where all of our UI is going to be going, and we're going to be implementing that in the near future, along with getting a base inventory and item system running, along with a few things to help make the life of the player a little easier. So let's get into the build and I can show you some of this stuff. So one of the first things that we really tried to work on was our battle scene. So now, for right now, the health bars are temporary. We're planning on going to a particle system that displays numbers because we want everything to be accessible from in-game, from our in-game wikia that gives you all of the information on the monsters that you fight as you fight more of them, so you learn more about those monsters. Along with this, we also have our targeting system. So if I choose to use this attack, I can't actually do anything right now because I have to actually select the targets before I can do my attack. And then we play through our animation, and then we see the response of our game loop for everything to happen. And then our AI works to select a move, and then it goes to attack me. Along with this, we've been working on getting a few portions of variation for this. So we have our basic attack up and working. We have 4 basic skills to work off of. Each one of them has different implementation. And along with this, I don't have enough mana to cast this skill. So now this is grayed out to me, and I can't use it. So this is just part of the feedback loop that we're trying to implement. Now, if we go over to our white box scene, we've been getting quite a lot of assets in. We've got our church in, which this is the main place where you go to build your skills. This is something that will be imperative to the player as they move through the game. This is something that you'll have to come here to keep reiterating through your skills for all the nodes that you collect and learn, and it's something that will become very imperative for your experience, as this is where the start of our adventure truly begins. Along with that, we've been iterating through models for some of our basic assets, along with trying to get quite a few different textures in. We did a rehaul on all of our textures, basically, because they weren't fitting quite right with our style. So we've been slowly shifting all of those over as we go. Along with this, we've also got a basic inventory system ready. So each of these boxes is a different item, and as I walk into them, I pick them up, which they are then added into our inventory. So then each one will have functions once we add that in, but we're not quite there yet. We're just getting our skeletal structure ready to be able to implement all of these systems. We've been trying to make as much progress as we can, but we've been working on a very broad scale instead of micromanaging every single thing. So we hope to have more for you next build. Thank you very much.
All right. Hello, my name is Nathaniel White, and I am the team lead for the ACS Production Studios Discord bot team. So this sprint, we mainly focused on, we have a lot of bigger tasks running, and with finals coming up, those have been going a little bit slower than we've anticipated. So this sprint, we sort of got a lot of littler tasks. We checked off tons of tasks off of our huge backlog of things we eventually went into the bot. Remember, this bot is meant to be sort of like, you know, an omni-bot. Has everything in it, does a lot of things that a lot of major bots do. But this sprint, we focus primarily on getting a lot of smaller commands done. So, from our games, we have Hangman. Right. I personally have seen, ever since we did the Hangman one, this has gone around a lot in the beta servers we have. People just love this game. We have, hello UAT, Truth or Dare. So there are two separate commands. One is a truth, one is a dare, and this is, again, goes into sort of the game's functionality. We have weather. And this is one of the commands that's not a bigger one, but it's certainly one of the ones that competes with bots out there, because their entire bot's dedicated solely to nicely formatting weather and giving you these different forecasts. Speaking of forecasts, we can also do a 5-day forecast. Or you can flip text. That one's kind of cool. I didn't realize that there's an entire ASCII table of just flipped letters. I'm not sure why people need that. This is one that I personally worked on. It is the server poll. So you start a poll, and then people in the server can vote on it, and afterwards it shows you statistics for how people voted and what was the most popular. So it's really good for making decisions, and eventually this will be implemented for some of the higher level functionality for, like, say, music. If a lot of people want one song and some people want a different song, you can start a poll. I should probably be saying who did these. Devin did the Urban Dictionary. So look at that. Definition of Hello World. We have quick YouTube search. So if you have a topic, you just really want to bring it up real quick, just YouTube search it and it'll pop up the video. A timer. This is more of a library function so that other commands can use it, and it executes stuff every certain amount of ticks. From Rashab, we have tongue twisters. This isn't in our RNG section. We're going to have RNG for pretty much anything you can imagine. Tongue twisters, random jokes, fortune cookies. These ones are from Ross. We have the Lenny commands. We have Yo Mama jokes. ASCII art. This one's pretty cool, I think. The ASCII art was from Rashab. From Ross again, we have random dogs and random cats. Now, there's actually a lot of work that goes into doing random dogs and random cats. You wouldn't think so, but the initial API that Ross was using generated a lot of ugly dogs. And when you're presenting a bot and people want a picture of a dog, it turns out they don't want an ugly picture of a dog. So you're now using two APIs, one for getting cute dogs and one for getting dogs by breed. So a lot of hidden functionality in that one command. Cats are cute by default, that's why cats are better. So there's no worries there. And maybe not that one. And this one is one that I did. It's just a random color, but you can't see it, but running in the background we have a separate server that actually generates this color for us to embed it like that. So little fun facts there. And are we meant to do the stand-ups here, or are we sort of not doing that? No? Alright, well that's all we have for this build. Next build we're going to have hopefully completed a lot of the bigger tasks such as price matching. We're going to have, yeah, mostly price matching. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Trevor Kennard. I'm the project lead for the ACS2 project. So what we did with this sprint, we did a bit of an overhaul with our GUI and backend, allowing them to communicate better. So we've added a couple buttons down here, save and load. They're test features for allowing us to save and import our neural network that we're working with. We also added in the ability to choose what type of data set you would like to train your actual neural network off of. So if I select one, you can choose the amount of times you want to train it, going up or down. And then when I hit train, we now have the feature that blocks it off from being clicked again until it finishes training itself. And we'll wait for a bit until it starts. So with the actual training portion, we were able to get it a lot more optimized. One epoch used to take about an hour. Now it's about half that time. So a massive improvement. Zach Thompson also worked on adding in new tabs for us. So the help center is now up. He's started working on creating .text files that will display. But the saving and loading feature was done by Jason Johnson. With that, we were able to link them using a thread system that sends emits, so we can update our GUI without having it lock up on us. So we can move around, look at what's happening, and have it update to us using all the values without any issues. That's pretty much what we've done for this sprint. And that's it.
bad about earlier. I apologize for being all unprofessional like that and walking down. But I'm just going to get in the build and walk and talk. Like, the main reason why I got all frustrated and flustered was, like, the team put in a lot of work, but a majority of it was optimizing and polishing so that it can be put on the Xbox, and not to be able to show off their work kind of, like, really, you know, grinds my gears. But come play it in there. I'm just going to run around here real quick and talk about, because we have, so, like, the weapons positioning is actually fixed now. So, like, swords aren't, like, coming out of forearms and crazy stuff like that. Like, we're still doing stuff with the PC one, but it's, like, I thought it'd be, you know, more impressive to have it with that. So you're not running into the issues, like, let me go through and just buy a couple of weapons. And I don't know, I like the controller more. But not running into issues like this, where it's like just hanging out and then sometimes not appearing in the UI, or things being way too giant. We also have the IK working on them too, so it's like, it's just a nicer build, and I shouldn't have got flustered like that, and I apologize. You know, it's not doing anybody any justice. Thank you for letting me come up here again. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye. Whoops.
Let's bring down the cut. Come on.
This time. USBs. They're the worst.
Because it's muttering your code and talking snap to his USB stick down there.
Here we go. Oh, it's gonna work. This is not gonna work. There we go. Alright, let's see if this will work this time. Okay. Sorry. Sorry. Okay, so this is working now. And I don't know what's up with that model, but that's fine. One of the things that we worked on getting in was the new model. It's messed up, and I'm not really sure why. I have to look into that. Did work on fixing the jump more. And a part of the construction site, Wade has been working on adding in the new art assets, so it looks more like it's under construction. That was jump pad. I forgot that was there. Yeah, so forgot it was there, but yeah, this jump pad, which will create more movement. We're definitely gonna be changing that asset, but server lobby. That was. Are you gonna change? No, you aren't gonna change. That's fine though. Yeah. So thank you.
round of applause for all of you. Excellent contributions. And to our audience, thank you for joining us for the UAT Game Studios Milestone Review. We invite you to tune in for the Greenlight presentations, and that'll be April 26th, right back here to see the final builds as well as new pictures. I hope to see you then. All right.